Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk. So we're going to jump on a thread. This was started by PC31, the Vinyl Policeman. I also saw Richard McCook do it. And so the idea is to pick one label and present 5 different artists on that label. So I'm going to fit that into my running sort of gimmick that I do approximately once a week of 5 records in 5 minutes. And so the label I picked is Slumberland Records. So this is a Bay Area based label. They've been around for probably about 30 years. They're probably most noted for indie pop, a lot of like in the early days with like the twee pop. Some of the stuff would sound like the C86 scene from England. A lot of indie pop, indie rock. One of my favorite albums from last year, The Umbrellas, was on Slumberland Records. I got a mystery box from them recently, and so I'm going to show you 5 of the singles from the mystery box. So let's start off with the Parasites. And then this was from the early 90s. Something to hold on to. There's a Leonard Cohen on the B side. So this was a pop punk band actually based in New Jersey that relocated to Berkeley. They've been on many labels. This was their only record ever on Slumberland, led by a guy named Nicky Parasite, whose real name is Dave McKenzie. And to be honest, they sound more like a band that would be on something like Lookout Records rather than, because they were more pop punky and less indie and less twee than the general Slumberland records. But the Parasites are kind of fun. Another one of my favorites from the box was this record by this group called Beatnik Film Stars, and the song is called Pink Noise. This is from 1995, sort of lo-fi. The band is from Bristol in the UK. So Slumberland, they don't really tend to have like a set logo. Pretty much all of them will have sort of these custom. There is a logo that they've used recently that I'll show you. It's not on this record. I know that's very hard to read, but that's what was on the Beatniks. So they sound a bit like Sebadoh. And so both of those first 2 records I showed you, Parasites and the Beatnik Farmers, are probably more punky and a little bit harder than most of the stuff on the label. What would probably be more about the label, and this will be from the MySpace era. The MySpace era is from the late 2000s, early 2010s. As a hint, if you can find their MySpace logo address on the record. So this is a group called Tinder Trap with this song. Do you want a boyfriend? Very pretty, white vinyl, pink and purple. There's the flip side. What's it called? The sum and the difference. And so this was Amelia Fletcher, who was in a group in the 90s called Heavenly. I kind of knew them. Her brother had also been in Heavenly, but he unfortunately committed suicide in 1996. And she'd been through a couple different bands, including this one called Tinder Trap. She's from Oxford in the UK. Her day job is she's an econ professor, which must pay better than twee pop. From 2007, we've got Sarandon with Joe's record. So this is indie rock post-punk revival from London. So I guess I picked a lot of their English records. So on sort of this pink with nothing on the label. The guy named Crayola, real name Simon Williams. This was the single from their album. Their album was called Kill Twee Pop, and it was described by somebody, I love this quote, as XTC played by underachievers on Ritalin. And we're almost up to 5 minutes, so let's get into the most recent one. We've got the Sun Charms. So the Sun Charms are based in Sheffield in the UK. So I seem to pick almost all the British ones out. That just tended to be my favorite from the box. So this is Shoegaze. They were active in the early 90s, released a couple EPs, reunited in 2015, put out this single, I think, in 2018, had their first full-length album in 2021, Red Dust, and then it's not actually a soundtrack, but they had a song called Film Soundtrack. So there you go, 5 records, 5 minutes, one label. The label's called Slumberland.